Okay, so that is Feeny, correct?
Yep.
How old is Feeny?
She's about 10 months probably,
Oh,
estimate.
puppy. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
maybe 10 to 11 months now.
Okay, and how long have you had her?
About 7 months,
Oh, okay,
maybe 6 months.
gotcha. All right, so I mean, we could just kind of do this topic by topic if you want. So
Yeah.
just, I guess, give me a little rundown of what's going on, and we'll address your concerns, I guess, as you present them.
All right. I guess the main issue is just with other people. She's actually she's getting better with certain people. It's only like certain people. It's like when they come through the door, she like does her scary growl and like she snaps at them. She doesn't bite them. But it seems like she's trying. Like if she wanted to bite them, she would, but she still it's like snaps at them. She's never actually like bitten down or grabbed someone. Um, and it's not all people. I've noticed it's only like lately is when they go through the door. Like if they were greeted at the door, if they come in and kind of hang out, then she'll be more relaxed with them. Um, she what else? She like if she sees anyone outside, she freaks out. But I mean that's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just kind of the type of dog she is.
Can you
Um,
can you define freaks out?
while waiting for someone to walk past the door, and you'll see for yourself out the window. Like
Oh, so not when you're out with her, just when people are passing the house.
yeah, well, even we can't even take her outside like on a walk. Yeah,
Oh,
like we don't even we've tried it a few times. But if she sees another person, like that's all she wants to run over there. And it's just a whole ordeal. Like you can't take her to dog parks. Like the neighbor's dog, she loves the neighbor's dogs. She stayed 2 weeks at my friend's house and they have three dogs and she loves those dogs. So it's really just strangers and people that she's never met before anyone new she sees. But yeah, like we tried taking her to parks and stuff when she was a puppy and it was just not worth it. Um, we tried like positive reinforcement when we were out there and stuff, but we just haven't um try, tried again recently.
okay. All right. So let's start with visitors and people coming into your home because that's probably the more pressing issue of.
Right. Like if we have a bunch of people over, like if it's too bad, we just have to like lock her in a crate and she'll bark all night, and I don't like doing that.
Right. Okay. So how often do you have visitors?
Um, it depends. Like on average, I guess like once a week, but some weeks, like sometimes I'll have two or three people over the weekend, like throughout the whole weekend.
Okay. And these are the same people that frequent your house
Yeah,
generally?
most of the time.
Okay. And is Feeny, is she food motivated? Does she like treats?
Yeah.
How is her obedience? Did you do any basic obedience work with her?
Yeah, yeah. If she's good. Like when it's time to eat, she knows exactly what to do. She'll sit. She'll wait for a while. We'll use treats and stuff just for her to relax, like to lay down and hang out with us instead of running all over the house. And she'll stay and like she'll wait and she'll be super obedient. But like the way I see it, she's extremely smart but real bad. Like she likes to be bad. If you know what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. So what is she, like a blue heeler mix or something?
I We have no idea.
Okay.
She's definitely a lot of pit.
Uh-huh.
She has a brindle coat. I had a blue heeler growing up. I don't think she's any blue heeler.
Oh, okay.
No, so I found her at work. So I work for the state police, and I don't know if you know the area Laurel Lake down near Millville.
What state?
In Millville, New Jersey, Laurel Lake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotcha.
Um, but she was just like left. She was just thrown over some fence, left to die, and I picked her up and took her home when she was a little puppy.
Okay.
So she definitely has like some history of like someone definitely abused her, tied her up and stuff
Hmm.
when she was young.
Yeah.
But um, we have no idea that place is like a terror is a a nightmare of a place. So
Yeah.
she's probably just a bunch of random mutt mixes.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
All right.
that's
So
okay.
yeah. So all right. So as far as people coming over, the best thing to do right now, number one, she is still young.
Hmm.
She's older as far as crucial puppy development stages go. You can't
Right.
recapture some of those periods in time, but she is still young enough to at least impact some positive change in her life. That's why I had asked you if you have the same people that are coming to the house.
Right.
So, yeah, and you may even need to actually manufacture visits where enroll your friends to come over, solely for the purpose of spending maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes initially, walking in the door and with Feeny, right?
Right.
So if she's food motivated, what you want to do is you want to utilize super high value treats that you normally don't use.
Right.
So, for argument's sake, let's say chopped up hot dogs, okay, or jerky, right? Some kind of jerky treat that she's never had, and then generally you have visitors come in and you try to not make a big deal of their entrance. Just try to make it as matter of fact as possible,
Right.
and have them ignore her initially, even if she's barking. And once she settles down just a tad, then you and your visitor or visitors can engage, present some treats, and make her do some work for the treats, to kind of preoccupy her mind for her from her social anxiety, because that's really what it sounds like is going on. She's just
Yeah.
socially deficient, right?
Yeah. That's what it sounds
Um,
like.
so, and this is where picking and choosing which visitor to help you comes in handy as well.
Hmm.
If it's someone that's a little apprehensive of dogs or specifically apprehensive of Feeny, that's not a person you want to utilize for these exercises,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Do you have anyone that fits that mold?
Yeah, we got a couple people actually. Like there's some people she doesn't even need a second. She sees them and she knows who it is and she loves them and she's so happy when they walk in.
Okay.
There's only like three people that it's genuinely like scary when they come in because her bark is so like aggressive and she growls and like snaps. So when people see her, they see that they're like absolutely not, no way. And then I think she like goes even further once she
Yeah.
realizes they're like kind of
Yeah.
showing up.
Almost feeds her anxiety.
Right.
Okay.
My
So,
well, my cousin Kelly actually like when she came over months ago, and it was really bad with her, like way different than everyone else. But she actually came over the other night, and she was real crazy at first, but then settled down with her, which she wasn't able to do the first time. Just with her, I don't know why it's just certain people that she tends to go crazy around.
yeah, and if you have a person that is apprehensive or even borderline anxious towards the dog, and then you have the anxious dog, those energies are
Yeah.
literally going to feed each other.
Yeah.
So, all right, so it's good that you have visitors that she really enjoys coming over, because that's a huge part of what we need to do.
Hmm.
Okay, so when your visitors come over that Feeny likes, I'm guessing they walk in the door, they greet you, and then they greet her.
Yeah, it's like she usually runs the door, so she's right there too. So kind of
Okay.
same thing.
Okay.
She'll jump up on them and kind of forces them to go, "Hey, what's up?"
Okay. So very important now, especially because you have visitors that can successfully enter your home. We need to make sure that we have to make sure that event is as matter of fact as possible. So your visitors have to ignore her. They can't look at her, they can't talk to her or anything until she settles down just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Especially because remember, an overstimulated dog, whether it's happy or otherwise, is still an overstimulated state of mind.
Right.
Right. So if she's overstimulated and happy, and then people are acknowledging her, they're going to validate her behavior. And what's going to happen is you're going to create higher ceilings of stimulation, which, granted, right, if it's in a friendly manner, it probably isn't a huge deal to you. But
Right.
at the same token, you're still increasing the ceiling of stimulation. So when she is anxious and snapping, you're also potentially running the risk of raising that ceiling as well.
Right.
And we need to lower those excitement ceilings. So walking in, and this goes for you and Melanie as well, when you come home, you have to make sure you're not inadvertently validating an overstimulated dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So coming and going to the best of our ability has to be a non-event. As it relates to your visitors, we definitely want them, they're not going to ignore her for 10, 15 minutes, right? But
Right.
let's just say Feeny is at a level 10 on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most excited, right? If
Mm-hmm.
she's at a 10 when her friendly humans come over, right? If we can get her down to like an 8 by ignoring her for a few minutes and then engaging, having her sit, take some treats, and then calmly saying hello when she's at a level 8, the repetition of that causes that level 8 to become her new 10.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now her stimulation level, her state of mind, her adrenaline, her cortisol levels are all coming back down to a more manageable level, and we chisel away at that over time. And the blessing in disguise is you have a handful of humans that she likes. So you can't necessarily do this with people she doesn't like, because you may have to intervene, right, for everyone's safety. But for the people that she definitely likes, it's a great opportunity to help create a lower ceiling of stimulation for her.
Gotcha.
And now keep in mind too, like, let's put it this way, right? If someone walks in and Feeny jumps and is all crazy and excited and they pet her, that is literally the definition of positive reinforcement.
Right.
Right? People think positive reinforcement is just a treat, but what it literally means is that a behavior presents itself, okay? The reward is offered, and that behavior is more likely to reproduce itself in the future.
Right.
Which means the dog is going to continue to do it and get better at it. So she will continue to become excited. She will get more excited, and it will perpetuate. Right? And we don't want her to not be happy. We just want to take it down a notch.
Right.
Okay? Fair?
Definitely fair. Yep.
Okay. And again, you can utilize treats that you normally don't use on your day-to-day activity with her. This way, when she does settle down and she does, even if it's just a simple sit, and she takes some treats from your visitors, she's learning, okay, if I sit and I settle, I get this super yummy treat. But if I jump and act like a fool, they ignore me and I get nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So she is, we're kind of teaching her, but by ignoring, we're allowing her to learn how she gets her rewards and putting her in a position where she can make better decisions that suit or meet our expectations of her. That's a really good goal for us to seek.
Right.
Okay. As far as, okay, let's see. So the snapping at visitors, obviously you're probably going to have the same visitors. So once you solidify her friendly visitors, you could start working on the visitors that aren't as open to working with her. So you can do the same approach, but you may need to leash her just so you have control over her, or maybe put her in the crate until the visitors are settled in the house and then lead her out of the crate on the leash and just let her walk around, sniff. Your visitors are still going to ignore her, even if they're sitting down in a chair or something. Let's say they're at the dining room table or kitchen table or whatever, just folding their arms and just ignoring her, and allow Feeny to go sniff and inspect them. Because once the people make eye contact with her, that could trigger an anxious response from Feeny.
Mm-hmm.
So completely detaching from Feeny altogether, it will lessen her anxiety and will give her an opportunity to smell, sniff, and inspect and approach the humans without any adverse feelings going on inside, or anxious feelings rather, going on inside of her mind. And then if she seems like she's settling a little bit and your visitors are willing, they can they can then look at her, hey, hi, Finny, sit, good girl, and then give her a little treat and then disengage again. And that's it. And keep those interactions short and sweet until Feeny builds a confidence level and your visitor builds a confidence level with Feeny.
Gotcha.
So those are, again, these are, general offerings. Once you work through these, you can always call me or shoot me a text, because new information may present itself to you and Melanie, right? You'd be like, okay, Jeff, this is good. This one's a shit show. And we can always work through it. So, some of this is trial and error, especially because, I don't know you, I don't know her. So I try to offer some general approach advice, especially given she's 10 months old. I want to do a lot of positive stuff with her.
Right.
If she was 3 or 4 and I knew you guys, we might be doing some other things in addition to this, but right now we want to recreate, number one, reduce the stimulation level of that visitor entrance, and number two, create a positive association with all visitors.
Right.
Okay. Now, only one exception to this rule, and this is not specific to your situation or Feeney. This is just what I tell people a lot. If you have a dog that is potentially territorial or protective, and you have contractors or somebody like that coming over, just put her away, because we can't rely on people we don't know to follow our instructions. All right.
Right.
We can barely rely on people we know to follow our instructions.
Yeah.
So in that regard, the best thing to do, especially in today's litigious society, all it takes is for a dog to scratch someone now for a lawsuit to be initiated. It's insane.
I know.
So the exception to your socialization exercise with visitors is contractors, things like that. Just put her away for her safety and your peace of mind.
Right.
So, okay. So, people outside, I guess, passersby, what is she looking out the window or the front door or something?
Yeah, so we have this big open window right to the street. So it's either if they walk past out there, or if she's outside, and then there's like 2 front gates that she can see. If anyone walks there too, she'll just go nuts until they're out of sight.
Okay, so unless you're out there to disconnect her from that behavior, or you're by the window to disconnect her from that behavior, or you take away that window altogether, you are going to have a difficult time modifying that behavior.
Right.
Okay. So let's put ourselves in Feeney's mind. Okay. Let's say the mail carrier is delivering mail, right? Walking up your walkway, she sees it, she goes ape shit, and she's barking and doing her thing. And the mail carrier delivers the mail and goes on to the next house, right? Pretty simple, right?
Right.
In Feeney's mind, the threat presented itself and she drove the threat away.
Yeah.
Okay, that is literally what's happening. So that behavior will reproduce itself and she will get better at it unless we're there to intervene.
Right.
Okay, so there's 2 ways. Obviously, if it happens once in a blue moon, you could just deal with it, right? The other option is eliminating access to her visual triggers, which means eliminating access to that big, gigantic picture window. I don't know how you do that.
Well, we actually have a good shade on, like the shade drops right down that first one.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do that too. I'll get her away from it and I'll just shut the window. But
okay. Is she
my
more?
wife has so many plants that need sun. So
is she sound driven just as much as she is sight driven?
Not just as much. She'll hear sounds and like look up. Sometimes she'll bark at it if she thinks it's some, but not nearly as much as sight.
All right. Okay. So this is where, because there are no visitors involved, this would be something for you and Melanie, right? So generally, how is your relationship with Feeney, you and Melanie? Does she generally listen to you inside the house?
For the most part. Like I said, she's really bad but really smart. So
okay. So if you wanted to get her off the couch and you meant it, would she get off?
No, I'd have to probably like push her.
Okay, and she would respect that?
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll sit there as long as she knows she knows what I'm saying. She gives you that look, and then you have to like give her the nudge, like I mean business.
Okay. All right. Okay, so if the window trigger become, if you have a incident, for lack of a better word, meaning she's barking at somebody passing by, you actually need to step between her and the window and herd her away from the window. Okay, almost like you're herding sheep. right?
Yeah. Okay.
And you need to be really assertive with her. We're not touching her or anything. We are using our body and a dog's innate understanding of herding and spatial boundaries to get her away from the window. And when we back her up, right, we put her in a sit, good girl, and then we could give her a quick little pet, and then you can close the blind.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But don't move her physically. Just do it. Like
Ideally, we use our body without touching her. That's ideal, where she respects our authority in that situation.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Now, is it going to be easy right away? No. You might be dancing around and shuffling, like, it's, but again, if she respects your authority, the repetition of this, she'll be like, okay, mom and dad they got it. They got control of this. That's really what we want her to understand, is that, hey, this is not acceptable. Backing up, allowing us to intervene, and then obviously always having a follow-up obedience behavior with some high value reward, whether it's physical affection or food. That's the follow-up to this, because we're literally putting ourselves between her and the quote unquote threat, and letting her know it's not acceptable by herding her away from the window. Now, if she persists and she starts jumping up, I guess, yeah, you could just push her away if you had to. But ideally, we want her to respect our authority and us being in that space, as opposed to that being her space. Okay. The challenge outside, obviously, is it's outside. So there's a lot more real estate to have to manage. So that's where you may have to actively work on situations on leash or something where people are walking by. The challenge with that is if you're not prepared for someone to walk by and she's in the yard, she's going to fly right to that spot and do her thing.
Yeah.
But obviously inside is usually that's where 99% of behaviors generally impact us.
Yeah.
Right, because it's right there in our face. We have to deal with it.
Yeah. The dog barking outside is just a dog barking outside.
Right. Now, does she persistently bark, or when it's over, it's over?
No, it's only if someone's there, she'll probably, like, let's say I'm just not even watching her and she's outside. This is just for example, if someone walks past the house, or actually my neighbor sells like crab traps, and he makes his own crab traps, so people are coming in and out all the time. She loves my neighbor, loves him to death. But if someone else walks in the backyard, she'll bark at that person the entire time until they're gone. Even if they're just standing there talking, she'll bark unless I go get her or that person leaves. She won't stop.
Okay, so if you need to modify that behavior, you need to be out there with her.
Right. I as soon as I start hearing the barking and I know it's something like that, like, you can kind of tell it's not just she saw something or
It's different, right?
Yeah, I always go out and I don't just leave her out there by herself or anything.
Okay, and she responds to you then?
Yeah, well, she'll see me and then she'll keep barking like, "Hey, you see what I'm seeing?"
Okay, so that's where, again, you have a choice to go intervene to let her know that's not acceptable, or she's
Right.
going to continue to do it.
Right.
I can't answer that for you. It depends on your tolerance level and your neighbor's tolerance level, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could tell you right now, when I get Amazon or some kind of package delivery and my dogs bark, I don't correct them because I want that behavior.
Right.
I don't mind that they're barking. Now, if my front door is open and it's someone they know, they're not going to bark. They're going to be wagging and they're going to say, "Oh, friend's here." For people that I don't know, I don't want my dogs to be. I like the fact that whoever's delivering that package, they have no idea what's on the other side of that door.
I do. I like that a lot too, because God forbid someone does come to my house that I don't want in my house. I want her to, be like that. But
Right. And I mean, you're a cop, right?
yeah.
Okay, so you know that sometimes the bark alone is a deterrent.
Oh yeah.
So
That's the thing. Like, she doesn't. My wife is so afraid that she's actually gonna bite someone. She's never actually bitten anybody. She'll like nip at you, and she'll, like, when we're playing, she'll nip at me too. But it doesn't hurt at all. She just uses her teeth. but when she barks at people, it's really scary, and she like go up in their face, and she'll put her teeth on you. But because if she wanted to like rip your face off, she obviously could. I'm not saying that wouldn't just randomly happen one day, but it's never happened. My wife just thinks that she's gonna bite. Um, but it's really just her barking. Is she like knows she can scare people away with just by barking and being like that.
Yeah. So, again, with the stranger thing, as surrounding your house, that's one thing. As far as like, I guess, well, you don't walk her anymore, so that would be a whole nother set of exercises that you would need to do if you were going to start walking her in public.
Yeah, we like to walk her, but it's just too much right now.
Too much in a sense that you don't want to deal with it.
Oh yeah, like almost. Like we were trying for a while, and then it's just like, all right, we have a big backyard. It's not that big of a deal. Like she has plenty of space.
Right.
She's not doesn't need the exercise for the walk because our backyard's really big. So
Right. Okay. So, I mean, again, first, she is only 10 months old, so you can work on walking at any point. So, if and you'll get a copy of this too. So, especially once Melanie watches this, you guys can talk. If you want to address walking and working on that, we could always have a follow-up too and discuss that in detail and how we would go about that.
right,
But I don't want to forget to mention, I know you mentioned that she puts on a good show and she won't bite. And I'm not telling you this to worry you,
no, yeah,
but she's 10 months old.
right,
So fast forward 2 years when she's an adult and more confident,
hmm
those nips in situations where she's uncertain of someone could potentially there could be more confidence behind it.
right. I'm not adamant like she'll never bite anyone. I'm just saying
Right.
it's never happened because I know it absolutely could one day just like that. But
Yeah.
it
And
just
especially given
affected.
the state you found her in, God knows what the first couple of months of her life was like, right?
Yeah,
And again, we can never recapture those moments, right? We don't know what happened to her before then. So we're probably going to have some level of social deficiency for the rest
hmm
of her life. But that's why I
right,
like to focus on people who frequent the house, because that's kind of the throbbing toe, so to speak. Like, we need her to be friendly with these people and gain confidence around them.
right.
Right? Because that's what's going to affect your life more than anything else. Is if you have friends come over and you got to put her away, it's going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
But if we work on these handful of visitors that she has some apprehension with, your life is literally going to improve, and her life is going to improve, because when you have visitors over, she'll be out with everyone.
yeah, right,
So, um, yeah, and then again, the visual stimuli with passersby of the house. That's you'll probably make some progress inside with the window. Outside, I'm just being a realist. Outside will be a little more challenging because it's intermittent. It doesn't really impact your life all that much. But
right.
just remember, if it becomes something where you like, okay, we need to address this, it's going to require active handling and participation and presence on your part to disconnect her from those behaviors.
Yeah.
So, um, okay, so we covered just about everything. I'm going to give you some homework too, but do you have anything else you want to talk about before we talk about homework?
No, I was gonna mention when we were talking about just like just how she is, like she won't, if you get behind her, like she won't let, she always has to know what's behind her. Like if she thinks something behind her, she'll walk like this. Like if you're walking behind her, she got to be in her sight. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why, but I think
Oh,
she's
like,
just anxious like that. Like she needs to know what around
little,
her at all times.
yeah, maybe a little separation anxiety with you guys. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I think it's more like on guard kind of thing. Like she just naturally is always wants to be knowing what's behind her.
Inside your home?
No, just really just in general. Like if she gets up and walks, she's gonna walk like this and like stare at you. Like if you're walking with her, or if she hears something behind her, she's always looking, or like she'll position herself where her back's not to anything. I don't know if that's just how she is or
Um, yeah, I'm trying to understand how that happens inside your home. Like, if you and Melanie are just walking around, she's on edge.
No, I wouldn't say on edge. It's just something I always notice. Like she'll never let like if you get up behind her, she'll reposition herself in like she always will never let you behind her, if you know what I mean. Um, like she'll just always reposition herself where she's either in front of you head on head, or when she walks, if we're walking, she'll just stare at you and like make sure keep checking behind her, make sure it's still just me behind her.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's potentially some social deficiency. It could be. Can I see her? Because I didn't really. Oh, wow, yeah, she's pretty. So, yeah, she looks like she's got some kind of herding dog in her or a working dog.
Yeah.
Does she have thick coat and a thick tail? I can't tell.
Oh, yeah, pretty thick.
Okay. How much does she weigh?
About 35 pounds.
Okay.
And that's it. Like that's as big as she's gonna get.
Yeah, yeah, maybe she has some kind of herding or something in there. Who the hell knows? But like you said, especially in South Jersey, that's like down here in North
Yeah.
Carolina. I'm from North Jersey, but down here in North Carolina, they're mixing everything with everything. So who the hell
Yeah.
knows, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it could be some social deficiency. It could be a little bit of maybe there's some working gene in her where that's her job.
Mm-hmm.
Like she feels like that's her job to be aware. As long as it's not like running the risk of anxiety or paranoia, where it's more of an awareness. I think the next 6 to 8 months will give you a little more information surrounding that as far as her confidence level goes.
Yeah.
I think that'll help. I'd be interested personally to see how that evolves over the course of the next year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if it,
it doesn't seem like a weird or anything. I just brought it up just as something I noticed.
yeah, yeah, again, could be some anxiety. She might feel she has a job to do.
Yeah.
All right, so she is crate trained, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your crate schedule with her?
Um, basically, if we're both so I work weird hours and they change all the time. Where my wife works like 9 to 5 or 8 to 3 or whatever.
Mhm.
So there's some days she'll have to be in her crate a lot longer than we want because um,
Yeah,
either
it's okay. Life happens.
yeah generally it's like she eats at 8 at night, 8 in the morning, 8 at night. If I'm home, like I've been home the past week, she's just out with me the whole time. As long as we're here, she's usually out. We have two cats too, but we just keep them separate. Like we try to do meetings with them, um, and they'll be okay for a minute, but they just kind of stare at each other, and then it's just no good because our
Okay.
cats they've been here longer and they're territorial.
Right. Yeah.
So we can just keep them separate, and we'll just leave it at that. But
Okay. And does Feeny generally? She's okay with her crate. She doesn't mind it.
no, I mean she would prefer to be out and hang with us. But like
Right.
you can tell there's some nights if it's like if I'm going to bed a little earlier, because like we try to put her in. It depends on what we're doing. After she eats, we'll hang out a little longer, and then we'll take her out one more time at like 10:30, and then she'll be in for the night until about 7, 8 in the morning. And she's tired from the day, and she sleeps and all that, and she's
Mhm.
good. But she doesn't have a problem with it. Like she knows, like we tell her to go home and stuff, and we reward her for that, so she'll go just right into it.
Right.
Unless she can tell she's having a good time.
Right. Right. All right. So there's just one minor change I would like to suggest.
Mm-hmm.
So do you give her like recreational chews, like trachea or anything like that, or stuffed Kongs or something to play with? And
Yeah, we had the stuffed Kongs for a while, but she's will rip them up. She'll destroy the Kongs even. She destroys almost every toy she can get. It's crazy.
okay.
But yeah, we have stuff like that.
All right. So even if you like, I don't know if there's a local pet store, or you could hop on Amazon and get beef trachea. You could probably get like a 10 pack for like $14. They're not terribly expensive. Because what I want you to do as far as her crate schedule goes, I want you to start putting her in the crate when you're home, and not just when you leave and not just for bedtime. Okay.
Okay.
And what the beef trachea or even a stuffed Kong does is we want to put her in the crate for 5 or 10-minute increments when we're home. Okay. And what the recreational chew does, it preoccupies her because this is going to be something new to her.
Mm-hmm.
Our objective is to make the crate just another thing that happens in her life. In the event we need to utilize the crate for behavior management, like if, you know, a contractor or something is coming over, you know, it's not a huge deal going in the crate, because
Right.
if she's going in the crate and getting a beef trachea just randomly, then okay, the crate's not necessarily associated with any one thing. And it could just be, you know, let's say right now you're home with her, you know, maybe put a little peanut butter in a Kong, bring her in the crate, put her in there for 5 minutes, take her right back out. That's the only thing I wanted to change, is to, again, add some crate time when you and Melanie are home.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
And now as far as homework goes, just, you mentioned earlier when you feed her that you make her sit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I call that resource control. So you're doing something really, really good and effective for your relationship and for her, is that nothing in life is for free.
Right.
Right. So if she does not perform some or do something, she doesn't get it, whatever it is. So what I mean by that is she has to earn everything. So food, treats, affection, playtime. If you allow her on the furniture, she has to perform even a simple sit for that privilege. If she doesn't perform a task, she doesn't get the resource. Okay. Just like with food, you're making her sit and wait.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good exercise. It helps it because there's two ways. Either you're working for her or she's working for you.
Yeah.
We want her to always be working for us.
Right.
And what resource control does, this little simple exercise, it makes training an all day, everyday part of life.
Right.
Right? We don't need to set time aside, because everything we do and everything she gets in her life, she has to earn. So training becomes all day, every day. And when in doubt, make her perform a task. Even letting her out the backyard to the opening the door to the backyard. Make her sit before, so she earns that privilege of the backyard.
Gotcha.
Coming back in, not a huge deal, but definitely going out, because that's something she enjoys, right? It's something she likes, and we want to give her that. We want to spoil her. Resource control just allows us to spoil her on our terms, not hers.
Right.
And that will cause a little bit of a positive shift in your relationship. She will start looking to you for guidance. You'll get better reliability. She'll start offering good behaviors because she knows what's on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
sound good?
Sounds good.